Very few people I feel follow one path and they know what they're going to be and they go that route and it never changes.
In this conversation, David sits down with longtime friend and financial strategist Shannon Lewandowski to unpack the unexpected path that shaped who he became.
Like, how do you define culture? Like when you ask, I mean, you got a team now, like when you think of it that way, like based on your experience, like what's a winning culture, I guess?
Wow. I mean, it's a great question.
From competitive hockey and early grit to failed business partnerships, along the way, Shannon shares how setbacks redefined his discipline, why choosing the right partners can change the trajectory of your life.
I'm of the belief the failure itself is not that big of a deal. The willingness to fail is a big deal, right? So what did that taught you? What did you learn from that experience?
I learned partners matter.
At the center of it all is a simple truth. Growth doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from having the courage to try, learn, and evolve when the outcome isn't guaranteed.
I also didn't know what I needed to know.
Right.
I knew I could sell, but I didn't know anything about the business side.
Oh,
and so
yeah. Say that loud. Like I say that so many times because a lot of times, especially for us in the real estate business, right? A lot of people are super talented at selling, but then like business is another skill. Like they're separate, right? And a lot of salespeople that achieve at a high level think of themselves as business people. And no, you're a rock star salespeople. Like you're a rock star salesperson, and that's awesome. That doesn't necessarily translate to say I'm a great business operator.
This is Shannon Lewandowski.
Welcome to the We Attitude podcast. I am joined today by Shannon Lewandowski, who happens to be probably one of my best friends, if not my best friend. So this is really cool. And then on the other side of our relationship is you're also, you're my financial guru, right? Helps keep my shit together. So I just want to, we've been friends for a long time. In fact, I remember the first time I met you, you found out that you're expecting your oldest.
Yep.
Right? We're on the golf course.
Right.
Firstborn. We're on the golf course. I remember the hole. I don't remember the number.
I don't either.
Right?
I don't either.
But anyway, it was so cool. And it was like, well, this is cool. Like, what a way to start our journey, I guess. Right?
Absolutely.
So this goes way back. Like, how is
Kelly will be 16 in February.
I was going to say, so 2010?
17 years ago,
yeah. So 2010-ish, right? So anyway, so I'm excited to have you. This is a newer thing that you've been part of a lot of my experiences. So this was never
insane.
This was never on the map, but yet here we are, right? So listen, the goal is just, you're a very successful guy. You're surrounded by a lot of success. You've achieved a lot. You're one of the best networker I know out there. I say this to anybody who wants to hear it. It's like I'm the one who says I have a guy and you're my guy, and I'm like, hey, I need this. But anyway, so let's just kind of go back a little bit. And I mean, you're from St. Louis, right?
Yep.
You're
born and raised.
You're a South City guy.
South St. Louis.
Yeah. A lot of pride comes from out of there. So what was it like? Like, I know you grew up playing hockey, which is something we have in common, right? And that we share quite a bit, and we spend 8 years coaching together.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I was there six.
I was there 6. That's true. Yeah. You were privileged to win your last game.
Well, not everybody gets to do that.
No, it's the hardest game to win. But anyway, we'll touch on that later. But so
should have wore a ring.
That's right. We should have. So talk to me. Well, let's use that, right? Like, I mean, I know the game played a big role in your life. So how long did you play? Where did you play? Like, what did you learn from it? What are some of the experiences that you I know you still talk to guys that you grew up playing with. So how did the game impacted your journey in business, I guess?
Oh, man. So there's a lot there. Yeah, I'll just kind of start. I mean, I think my dad got me on skates at 3, pushing a bucket or a chair around like most of us.
Yeah.
Grew up playing at Afton my whole life. And,
Coldest rink in St. Louis.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think the menu in Bark's Place has changed prices in 40 years.
God bless.
You can still get T-Raz for like $2.75.
Yeah.
But
the rest of the country,
right? But yeah, I grew up playing there. You know, I was I was small. Up until my freshman year in high school, I was 5 foot even.
Wow.
So I was small. I had a mouth on me. I loved being aggressive. I would say I was an average player. There were years in which might have made an above average team. Mm-hmm. Next year I'm back down. Really, it wasn't until my junior year in high school I grew 9 inches and started getting some size to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never would have thought, growing up in St. Louis, I don't think, getting out of St. Louis was, playing is,
right.
It just didn't really happen.
Right.
Playing for the St. Louis Junior Blues was a huge deal.
Right.
And so that was something, I mean, even when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, there used to be a Junior B tournament in St. Louis at Afton, and you could stick boy. You could sign up to volunteer as stick boy.
Yeah.
And I do that every year, and it was awesome. I mean, I learned some shit.
Yeah.
I think I had my first dip of Kodiak maybe at 13 from the Dinah Stingers who were in town, and thought that was funny. I puked.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just being a part of that, and then I got a chance to start practicing with the team my senior year, and I was actually working at Afton. I drove the Zamboni. It was an awesome job.
Yeah.
And the next year, made the team. And, just again, not something I never thought would have happened. And I was bigger at the time. I enjoyed the physical side of the game. I mean, anytime you got a chance to fight. Like, you couldn't fight in amateur hockey, but you get to play juniors, and all of a sudden, you could fight. Like, this is the best thing ever. And so, absolutely loved it.
It's crazy when you think about it. As a young man, 18, 19-year-old, and you get into a fight, and all the worst that comes out of it is maybe you got to take a punch or two, and you get a 5-minute penalty. That's it. And then you go right back at it.
You're not out of the game. You're still in the game.
As much as I also love the part of that, and that it's still part of the game, there is no logic to it at all.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. No, it's definitely so. I mean, you think about that being in any sport. Yeah. The fact that you can get in a fight.
Yeah. You can just square off. It's all right. Let's handle it right now.
Right.
And you're like, who does that?
And I loved fighting on the ice. Yeah. I was not a fighter off the ice. Yeah. What I loved about it was it's one-on-one. When it's over, it's over. Yep. You don't have to worry about getting kicked in the face. Right. This guy's friend. Yeah. It just, and I mean, I'll tell you what, I was smiling the whole time. Yeah. And I'm telling the guy I fought that a boy afterwards. Yeah. I love that part of it. Yeah. Met my best friend, Adam Tumbrink. Yeah. We were both in tryouts together, and Adam was 15. I mean, he was a big boy, and he was a good player. I was 18. I'd gotten in 2 scraps during the same tryout, and then he jumps over the boards and challenges me for a third shift.
Wow.
Holy cow. I mean, and here we are. We both make the team, and then we end up being best friends. And it's just wild how that works, right? Yeah. So the game, I mean, the people to this day, I still talk to probably 10 guys from that team.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It made a huge impact in my life, and it was, some of the most fun times I've had in my life were those 2 years of playing for the Junior Blues. For sure. And just the camaraderie, the travel, the fun we had afterwards and before. It was awesome.
So you played there, and then you went on college for some time.
Yeah. So I went
out west.
I had a cup of coffee out in Billings, Montana, in the Junior A League, and that was wild. But yeah, and then I went to. I wanted to go to a big school, but I wanted to go somewhere. I'm a huge Michigan fan, so I wanted to go to University of Michigan. Yeah. Then I had been in Montana a little bit. I'm like, I want to go somewhere warm. Yeah. I actually, the University of Arizona had a good hockey team at the time. I flew out there to visit U of A.
Okay.
Met with some of the hockey guys, and they were like, man, I would go to ASU if I were you. What?
Great recruiters.
I mean, I'm like, it's something wrong with me. Like, why are they telling me to play for their rival? But I did. I enrolled at Arizona State. I didn't know anyone in the whole state of Arizona. I didn't know anyone on campus. They had you fill out this form to live in this apartment complex that was right across the street from campus. I mean, it was like Melrose Place. It was awesome. But you had to fill out this form so they match up with roommates. 1 to 10, how much do you study? 1 to 10, how much do you party? And again, it was 10 pages.
Yeah.
And I was honest. So I end up in the building with the biggest partiers in the world. I mean, there were guys. It was, again, we talk about networking a little bit. I mean, I was exposed to so much because I really
know nobody.
I knew
you don't have a choice.
I knew nobody.
Yeah.
I may have bought a keg the first day I was there.
Maybe.
How do you make friends?
It's a good way.
And but I mean, there was a guy, Tyler Radigan, he was from Dallas. It was kind of like the Bommeritos. Like his dad owned 13 car dealerships in Texas.
Yeah.
He had like a $10,000 a month allowance.
Oh, it's a good friend to have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I went to the Best Buy with him. That was a good time.
That's right.
There were 2 guys from Las Vegas that their dads were attorneys. I mean, they're driving huge amounts. It was just what I got to see there. It was wild.
Yeah. So you came out of college. I know you and I, at the time that we met, you were in lending, but you didn't go straight to lending. I feel like, if I remember.
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit,
right?
And so I've been able to sell. So while I was at Arizona State, I got a job at Insight. So if everybody remembers the Insight.com Bowl, that's kind of what they're known for. But they sold software and hardware. Well, my first job there was in the mailroom.
Okay.
Right. They got a job in the mailroom.
Yeah.
And
got in the building.
I was in the building, right? And literally 6 months in, they had a company policy. If you're there for 6 months, you can apply for any role.
Yeah.
And here I am walking around handing FedEx to guys, and they got their earbuds in, and they're sitting in cubicles selling. And I'm like, I could do this. These clowns, I went to a guy named Bill Ettinger. He was a cop from Chicago, lived in Arizona. And he was the sales manager there, and we just kind of hit it off. I'd always bring him mail. We just talked, and he was such a great guy. And I said, I'd really like to apply for a sales job.
Yeah.
And I got it.
There you go.
And did well, and I was like, this is something I want to do. Well, that kind of took off, and then I thought, I'm like, okay, well, I want to move back home. I kind of was gone for a while. Sure. I'm ready to move back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And my dad had met a guy who owned a computer company, and I'm like, well, I can sell for these guys. Like, I'll partner with this guy and just call my old clients and start selling and making more money and start a business.
Yeah.
Failed.
Yeah.
It happens. You learn that a little later in life. Those things happen.
Well, I'm just curious though. So a lot of times, and you've seen this too by now, but I come across a ton of people that have all kinds of goals, intentions, and all this stuff, but never take the step.
Yep.
And a lot of those times is because people are so afraid of failing, right? And you said, I'm going to do it. And then you look back, we failed. So, I mean, that's a big deal. So not the failure, I'm of the belief the failure itself is not that big of a deal. The willingness to fail is a big deal, right? So what did that taught you? What did you learn from that experience?
Well, one, I was proud of myself for trying.
Right.
I learned partners matter.
Yeah.
A lot of things were kind of promised, and when I got there, everything was kind of taken out from underneath me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I also didn't know what I needed to know.
Right.
I knew I could sell, but I didn't know anything about the business side at all.
Oh.
And so,
yeah.
Again, it was, lessons learned.
Say that loud. Like I say that so many times, because a lot of times, especially for us in the real estate business, right? A lot of people are super talented at selling, but then business is another skill. Like they're separate, right? And a lot of salespeople that achieve at a high level think of themselves as business people. Mm-hmm. And no, you're a rock star salespeople. You're a rock star salesperson, and that's awesome. That doesn't necessarily translate. Say I'm a great business operator, blah 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 blah, right? And I think it's a small tweak, but it's a huge. They're two very different worlds.
I think also too, there's a stigma
Yeah.
around salespeople versus business owners.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants the title.
Yeah.
Right. I'm CEO.
Yeah.
Right. Till they learn out what they learn what
Until they get a lawsuit. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But I think there's a stigma on being a salesperson when the reality is that a lot of us need to be sold things, right?
Yeah.
Like we have a problem and you have a solution.
Yeah.
It's not so much selling something that people don't need. Right. It gets a bad rap.
I think ultimately selling is about influence.
Correct.
Right. So if you buy into that, then everyone should have some sort of selling bone, I guess, at some point, because you need it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll go back to the failure.
Yeah.
So you're proud, you try. What else comes out of that lesson, I guess?
I mean, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Let's go do something else.
Let's do it
Let's
again.
do that.
Yeah.
Next up.
Love it.
Right? Next up. And what was crazy is it led me back to Arizona. My really good friend, Nikki Pavone, who I met at ASU, she was from Chicago. Her dad and uncles all owned a book company in Chicago. Well,
It sounds like a mob or something.
they sure looked like it.
I'm thinking of
Great people, but I'll tell you what, the first time they all came out to the Scottsdale Princess and stayed, and I went out there to meet them, and I mean, they had their white robes on from the Scottsdale Princess, but I mean, gold chains, and they are the greatest people.
Bookstore.
Well, so this is 99.
Okay.
.com.
Oh, yeah.
So .com boom.
Yeah.
Well, the bookstore got approached by a group that had bought the URL law.com.
Okay.
And so they wanted to open in law.com. They're going to sell books, but there was also going to sell, you remember Palm Pilots?
Yeah.
They're going to sell software and Palm Pilots.
Okay.
They needed somebody to run that.
There you go.
I had this experience there. And so I got back to Arizona and got to be, I mean, what a wild ride it was because of one, I mean, venture capital is just throwing all this money at these .coms.
Yeah.
And it's the legal profession.
Yeah.
So I'm touring around and going to these legal, they were called legal tech, but they were trade shows, and they're in Chicago and New York and Dallas and San Francisco, but you're catering to lawyers. So,
Right.
I mean, the best parties, cocktail shrimp this big, right?
Yeah.
Just a wild ride. So
How long did we do that for?
2 years.
Okay.
Yep. 01 happens, 9/11.
Yeah.
We didn't go through, I'm an only child.
Yeah.
And a lot changed there. A lot of people. And again, I wanted to be home. I had met a guy through one of these trade shows who had, out west, you see those misting systems, right? You're sitting on a patio and it cools you off. Right?
Yeah.
You need them in Arizona,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But this guy had approached me and, hey, I want to buy a franchise of these companies and I can have the state of Missouri. And so, okay, so here I am, back entrepreneur again.
Trying again.
And so I spent a year and a half selling those systems all around town, sold the Hard Rock. We had the zoo actually had bought some. We were working on the development of this advertising misting fan. We were working in some stuff. Again, bad partner. Come to find out after a year and a half that he was liquidating all the funds that we were making and paying past due child support and all this stuff. And, again, time to go.
Yeah.
So, through that, that was kind of seasonal. And I had met the Giannino family, the Joey B's, Billy G's. Tony was 23 at the time, had bought a nightclub downtown. And I had sold them. They had a huge patio, and we had sold them misting fans for their patio.
Yeah.
And it was winter, so not really much to sell. And he's like, hey, why don't you come work for me at this place? All right. And what was cool is I had been out in Arizona. We went to Vegas a lot. Arizona was blowing up with nightlife. And so I kind of knew how to work that.
Yeah.
I knew what that experience, at least what they wanted to bring to St. Louis. And so I worked for him for a couple of years. And I also got a job as a loan officer. from one of the regulars that came in, was like, hey, you need to come work with me, Matt Stiles.
Yeah.
I know Matt.
Yeah.
And so, got into lending.
So before we go to the lending part, because you got into lending at a very interesting time in the lending world. So Jenny knows a highly successful family here in St. Louis. To be able to work with them for a couple of years, like what are some of the lessons, I guess, or things you've learned through their operation or through their journey?
Who the Jeannie knows?
Yeah.
I mean, what was really cool is that the dad. I mean, it was a family affair.
Yeah.
And the dad really empowered his kids. He helped them secure loans and would teach them the business, but it was theirs.
Nice.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And then how to go about running a business. I mean, it was, you would think somebody that's 23 years old and, but he did it the right way, right?
Yeah, clearly.
He has continued to do it the right way, by being smart and not just letting all your friends drink for free and all those things that you kind of would come with that age. Yeah. He didn't, and he also created a great team around him. Yeah. Brought in some great general managers, and we just kept evolving.
And I would assume the people he brought, I mean, if he was 23, the people he brought around him were probably all older than correct, right? So there's an interesting positioning inside the building that, hey, I'm only 23, but I understand that I need more experience, and I'm not intimidated by having potentially people that are better than him at what he's doing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny how you can't do that alone, right?
Right. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, so then lending, man, you got like, I mean, this is this is
what we. It was 02. Yeah. Right. So it wasn't. We
weren't there. Yeah. It was building up. Yeah.
It was building up to it.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. And one thing my dad always told me, your kids, right? Yeah. And he always said, you need to be in sales. You need to be in front of people. And I think I matured late, but not only mentally, but physically, right? I just always looked young. Yeah. And so I was always kind of afraid, right? Yeah. Like I felt like, oh, I'm not old enough. I'm not old enough, right? I need to have more gray in my hair or whatever it is. Like, the experience behind you. And so I was always intimidated by that. But that was, mostly phone, like, again, getting started, it was mostly lead based, sales but that's where you started to learn about finance and personal finance. Yeah. When you take a mortgage application, you're getting to see everything, right?
Yeah. It's like giving someone an MRI, like
100%.
You just got real intimate.
Correct. Yeah. And so, I really enjoyed that part of it, right? Yeah. Of kind of putting puzzles together, and working with people and helping them come to we have a goal, we want to buy this house, or we need to refinance, or whatever it is. Yeah. Let's help get that done and make a positive impact in people's lives. Yeah. It was, first company I worked for, not great, but again, you got to cut your teeth somewhere, and then you kind of learn.
Get in the door.
I ended up moving to Chicago for a year and running a mortgage office there. Yeah. That was a neat experience. Yeah. So a lot more Lewandowskis up there. Oh. Big Polish community.
There you go.
Moved up there and managed an office. But, again, when you talk about working with teams and managing people, if the system behind you don't believe in, I can't fake it. Yeah. I can't fake it. And so, came back to St. Louis, worked for GMAC, which was a really interesting model, because everything before was kind of like go out and find your business. Yeah. Where GMAC, we actually got assigned car dealerships because all the employees got special rates and stuff, because that GM family, right? You could buy a car, you could get a mortgage and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really neat. Yeah. Right. Just a completely different approach to and different side of business. And I met a guy named Brian Jackson. He was my manager. And Brian, I would feel, taught me more about networking and just connecting than anybody I know.
So give me an example. Like, what are some of the specifics you remember that you would say? to prioritize?
Oh man, I wish I could. I wish I could imitate his demeanor. But again, he knew everybody.
Yeah.
And I think I had that naturally. I just never really did it on purpose.
Yeah.
But just the way he walked into a room and just lit it up, it was awesome, and just knew everyone and shook everyone's hand, and he always dressed sharp, and I noticed those things, right?
Yeah.
Just how he went about things. It was probably the first time that it opened my eyes to being intentional about networking as opposed to just letting it happen naturally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now 08's rolling around, right? So 08's rolling around, and I looked at it as, if this is a business I'm going to be in and everything's going down, you got to get on the biggest ship possible. Right?
Yeah.
So I went to Bank of America.
Yeah.
Countrywide was getting bought by them. Merrill Lynch was coming. I mean, it was scary times.
Yeah.
It was scary times, but made the most of it.
Yeah.
Right. Met a really good friend of ours, Kevin Landy.
Yeah.
Kevin was an advisor at Merrill Lynch, or at Bank of America at the time.
Yeah.
And we moved into the office in Clayton. And again, you talk about networking and just being intentional and trying to problem solve. In that office, there were 7 floors of different levels of Bank of America, right? And so U.S. Trust is like their premier group. And they were on the top floor. And so I just started talking to people in the elevator. What department you work in?
What floor are you on?
Yeah, what floor are you on? What do you do?
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because a business partner of mine said, there 2 guys came down here, looked like Secret Service, asking where you were. Come to find out they were U.S. Trust guys that I had, again, just kind of opened doors. Well, we wrote business because the business we went after is, one, you had foreclosures everywhere.
Yeah.
So
short sales,
you couldn't get appraised. So where the money was actually in people downsizing out of jumbos into conventional loans.
Okay.
Right. So at the time, I think the conventional was like 414 or something crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but they had cash.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, I want to get down under 414, and so we refinanced, put that down, and so we actually wrote, I think we did like 30 million that year.
Wow.
When everyone else was having a tough year.
Yeah.
Again, we found where the business was.
Yeah.
I ended up I did a loan for a couple, Dave and Karen Starr. Shout out them. Unbelievable people. I did a loan, Dina Farrar, you might know Dina.
Yep.
Dina did their loan, that was their agent. And they were doing a corporate relo and he was moving from Des Moines, Iowa down here. And they were looking out in St. Albans.
Yeah.
And I met with Karen a lot because, Dave was working. And so, got him closed. They bought a $1.1 million house out in St. Albans and got him closed. And I took him to lunch afterwards. I had a couple questions. One, are there any other people moving from Iowa $9 million houses I need to know?
Yes.
And 2, what the hell do you do for a living? Because I saw their mortgage application and made great money, had great assets.
Right.
So he worked for Principal Financial Group, and Principal had an office here in St. Louis. So the answer was there was nobody else moving here.
Yeah.
And he was a area manager for Principal. And Principal had a local office here in St. Louis, and all the advisors were 60 plus. And so he was sent down to kind of recreate and build a new culture in that office. And
rebuilding a team.
Yeah, rebuilding a team.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow, that's really cool. First thing that comes to mind is I'm going to introduce you to some people, right? Yeah. Here's some people I know that might be a good fit.
Yeah.
And I remember he called me probably a month later. And, hey, Shannon, I got some hockey tickets. He knew I was a big hockey guy.
Yeah.
I got hockey tickets. Do you want them? Yeah, I want them.
Yeah.
So come to my office to pick them up. And I came by the office, and he's like, so you got a minute? I said, yeah. He goes, I'll tell you what, Karen and I sit at home talking about culture and what we want to do. And she keeps telling me I need to hire you. Oh, okay. And this is right after we met.
Yeah.
Because again, because Kelly was not born yet. And so I don't know. Like I know how to make money and provide for my family in the mortgage business, right? I don't know what this looks like, right? And so we spent months and months on just answering questions. And then once I kind of figured out that's the route I wanted to go. And again, it was just a more in-depth planning of what we're doing on the mortgage side, but it's everything, right? Yeah. We're covering all of it, and a lot more, unfortunately on the mortgage side, you kind of deal with this transaction and then it's kind of over. Yeah. I love relationships and people. And so being able to interact and have more of a relationship.
Yeah. So the mortgage business was a lot more transactional, right? So, and I'm saying this because you mentioned he was basically coming here to rebuild a culture.
Correct.
So from, just from your journey at that point all the way back to your days with the Junior Blues, how do you define culture? Like when you ask, you got a team now, like when you think of it that way, like based on your experience, like what's a winning culture, I guess?
Wow. It's a great question. And sometimes it's really hard to define. You kind of feel it.
Yeah.
Right. It's tough. It's being around and kind of getting a feel for things. I think you have to have people that are willing to work in a team environment, right? First and foremost, right? Yeah. If you've got people that just are on their own and not, that's tough.
Yeah.
I think you have to be willing to root for others.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is hard, right? There's times ego and jealousy and things live inside of us.
Yeah.
And so finding people that are willing to root for others, I think is another big part of at least cultures I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Right. Making that pass.
Yeah.
That makes more sense as opposed to shooting.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what I'm looking for. That's the team I want to be on.
Yeah. And I think it's funny. Like I think sometimes people will describe these things, but may never have lived it.
Right.
Or certainly not humbly to the level that we've experienced it, I guess.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's where the discrepancy is, right? Because it takes a lot of courage to be able to publicly support, encourage, high five another teammate when you know that, hey, maybe I'm going to set this one up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm not part of this bonus pool, right? Or I'm not part of the next dinner bonus or whatever, right? But a real teammate will still high five that group and all this stuff, because if you understand it in the long run, you still benefit from all of it. Right?
100%.
Yeah. So then you kind of move into the financial advisor world, move to principal, and then you work directly with him for how long?
So 3 years.
Yeah.
But I was there for 5.
Yeah.
Dave got a call. It's an interesting world, right? So they were from Iowa, and he got a call, and I guess in South Dakota or North Dakota, one of the Dakotas.
Yeah.
Principal sold a $1.2 billion 401k plan to a hospital conglomerate.
Wow.
The sales manager there in that office stepped down to manage that plan.
Yeah.
Again, going back to sales versus that made a lot of sense for him, and they needed a manager, and so they relocated Dave again and his family to the Dakotas.
Gotcha.
I know that it hurt him to call me because he recruited me to come there, build something, and now he has to move on from it. We still chat with them.
That's awesome.
They're just...
So I'm just curious though, real quick, from a cultural perspective, like he was very clear on what he wanted to do and how he wanted to restructure and kind of create the turnover and all this stuff. So when he left, was the culture at a point where it was strong enough, or did they go with it? Okay.
We hadn't gotten there yet. We're very much in the building phase, and you still have people that were part of the old culture that you're not going anywhere. And it was old culture.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I found out I love the business.
Yeah.
But that's not the way I wanted to do business. Right. There were advisors. Again, it's not a shot at anybody. They had built their business 30 years prior to that, and they were just managing it.
Yeah.
But they were, just really managing assets, but managing old A-share mutual funds and not doing the kind of planning that I wanted to do and not running their business the way that I wanted to. And now my mentor left.
Right.
And so we went on a search to try to find, again, I want to be in the business. I really enjoyed the business, but we got to find a place. I definitely believe in having mentors and, why create your own path when you can, if someone's been there before you, model that, right?
Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So then you found another place.
Yeah. So met Brian Roberts.
Right. What attracted you there?
Brian had the business that I wanted to have and was doing business the way that I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He was a planning guy first. He was several years younger than me, but he had started at 20, right out of college.
Yeah.
And so, it was just led with planning, right? And was on the forefront of using technology and again, just had that's what I want. That's how I want to do business. That's how and so, again, new mentor.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. And then you were there for what?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Brian had, again, kudos to him, but he had gotten another opportunity where, corporate came in and said, hey, we need a new CEO. And so he sold his practice and become CEO of the organization. So now he's no longer a mentor because again, it's just a different role.
Yeah.
And we had learned, I really love financial planning and fee-based financial planning even more than that.
Yeah.
Meaning we can charge a fee and just be on the team.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to help with all these different areas, right? We'll make sure you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. I didn't want to be tied to any specific flag.
Yeah.
Principal, Mass Mutual. I wanted to be completely independent.
Yeah.
And so, again, went on a search.
Yeah.
What's really crazy about the financial planning business, you can't start out independent.
Okay.
You have to have a base of families that you represent and assets that you manage to go independent. You can't start out from scratch unless you're Dylan, right? Unless you're, you come on as a junior under someone that's independent.
Right.
You either need to start at Jones and knocking doors, or at a, insurance-based broker-dealer where, again, you're kind of learning they're providing you training and all these things, but you're kind of tied to that flag.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that part's broke in our industry.
Yeah.
And I think, I have a lot of conversations with people that want to get in the business.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you need to find somebody that you can join their team.
Yeah.
And learn that way.
Yeah. So I think the coolest thing about your journey, I guess I didn't realize, or I forgot, like a few stops along the way that you've made. And there's a few words that keep coming back, like culture, right? I'm going to say failure loosely. I mean, there's some tangible one, and then just kind of swing and a miss here and there. Mentor. I'm gonna go with mentor / coaching. Is that fair?
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And it's funny because you've experienced all of this in your teens as a player, right? I mean, you've got a coach. You've got older players on a team that kind of mentors and look after you, and then you got to figure out to cohabit with other people, other players, and be willing to kind of give the puck and the headman the puck and all this stuff. And it's funny when I had a conversation with another business person earlier, and they had a military experience and they had corporate experience and all this stuff. And it's interesting how culture. In this case, because the military were like reps, like practice and all this stuff, and then the teammate environment, like we have to figure this together, just keep coming up, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: like you've been around the block a few times, and like I said earlier, we coached for 6 years together. Why do you think it's so hard to understand? Like, why do people resist this so much? I guess if we can figure it out,
right.
We don't need the power.
Exactly.
But I'm just curious, like from your perspective, 'cause I'm sure you live it in your world too, right? No, I got it. I'll do it myself. And I'm like, but but we're going to be so far ahead if we do it together. Like it makes, you know what I mean? So
it's part of the journey, I think, of the human journey.
Yeah.
You know, I have teenage boys right now.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in that stage where I don't know much.
Yeah.
Right.
If anything.
Right. And they know everything.
Yeah.
I think there's part of that. I don't know if it's part of the journey that we're supposed to be. Like, people could tell us everything in the world of this is how to do it, but you kind of got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
You know, I also think I heard it on a podcast, and boy, there's not a lot of coaching going on. And I don't know, you know, think about this, like, are young men coming to older men and having conversations on how to be successful in life?
I don't think it's as common as it used to be for you and I. Like, I would knock on anybody's door. Like, you're there.
Correct.
If you let me sit down, I'll sit down. You want to go get coffee, we'll get coffee. You want a beer, we'll do a beer. Like, I don't care. Like, if I get 30 minutes, I'll take 30. If I get 15, I'll take 15. But I think back of how I was. I mean, even as an athlete, I was really annoying. Yeah. Like, I really was. Like, thinking back, but I couldn't help wanting to get better. I couldn't help to learn more and understand more and find ways to be more efficient and doing it faster and better. Like, I don't know. And that's an interesting point you're bringing. Like, I'm not sure. And you're right. It's somehow not as common as it was, for sure.
Well, and
or maybe nobody knocks on my door again.
Well, no, I think, and again, this is where it gets a little dark, but I can see why. You know, it's like the whole pedophilia. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I can't be alone with this guy, this strange man.
Right.
But like
back in an Uber.
Right. Get an Uber with somebody I don't know, and I think that's what's kind of, I feel, missing. Is that mentorship, right? That coaching, and it's hard. Again, talking about my kids and what they're experiencing. One, there's some great things going on in schools. Yeah, right. They're teaching personal finance.
Nice.
Hallelujah. Right.
Nice.
One that for a long time. Like my kid, my 15-year-old knows what his taxes are going to look like coming out of a paycheck.
Awesome.
Right. Holy cow. But they're also, my 8th grader just went on like a business or like a job fair. Yeah. 8th grade. Yeah. I appreciate the effort.
Yeah. Might be a little early.
It's a little early, right? And you have no idea. I mean, think about what you thought you were going to be at 8th grade. And most people, again, very few people, I feel, follow one path and they know what they're going to be and they go that route and it never changes. Yeah. Right. And that's why I love sharing my story and hearing yours. I mean, you think about where you started and how you got here, but it's always about the next
Let's see,
move.
If I think of your story, though, like, it's interesting because I would think there's not as many variable. I mean, there's different. You've been selling your whole life.
Yep.
So when you think about it, I feel like every step made you a better salesperson. Yes. And then I feel like it just broadened your opportunity, right? Correct. It just widens the what else you could sell kind of thing, right? Yep. So let me ask you this: what especially in your world, and we can talk about this too. Like, I would argue that right now, I'm not going to argue. I'll let you speak to that, but from my limited knowledge of stocks in the market and all this stuff, certainly feel like AI has taken over our stock market, if you will, right? Like, a lot of people think there's an AI bubble kind of thing. So what's AI doing in your industry 5 years from now? How does it impact it? Does it impact it? Like, what do you think is going to happen with that?
Yeah, I mean, one, currently it's helping. Right, it's allowing us to be better advisors. I mean, for me, getting back to the teammate thing. Currently, I am a teammate for hire. Yeah, right. Like, that's what I want to be. Is on my clients, I want to be on the team. Yeah, right. And what role I play on that team could matter depending on who else is on the team. Right. I may be the captain. I may be leading the charge. Yeah. I may be a role player. Right. But I want to be part of the team. Yeah. With the right people. Yeah. But AI is making our lives easier. But I still think, and I still believe, a human element is super important. Yeah. Because trust, it's very hard to trust a computer. Yeah. It's great to get information from. Yeah. But I like it. It's a GPS. Yeah. How long have we had GPS? Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
MapQuest was 30 years ago, right?
Trying to remember my first Garmin like stuck in my windshield.
But even MapQuest, we had to put it in there and print it out. Stick it in the car.
Yeah.
But even today, I could put in GPS to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it might have me get off on Ballast and go 2 stoplights and get back on 270.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not perfect. It has errors and it's wrong. You know, so it's great as a guide.
Yeah.
But you still have to have some personal thought. And for financial planning, for me, like, one, all the information's out there. You could do all this yourself.
Yeah.
Just like being in the gym.
Yeah.
All the weights are there.
Yeah.
People hire trainers because, one, they need guides on what to do and how to do it, but they also want that accountability partner to make sure I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how I look at it, as far as I'm not afraid of AI taking my business or my role, but I can use AI and my clients can use AI to be more efficient.
Yeah. So AI is like your teammate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Probably cheapest teammate you've had.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. I mean, the gym thing's funny. It's kind of like I'll just get a gym at home and I'll work out at home. Yeah. There's a lot of home gym that never had been cleaned because they've never been used. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Marketplace is filled with a lot of weights.
That's right. It's marketplace real healthy. That's right. Dude, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy, and I just, like I said, like we'll try to take this podcasting on the road and empower people to understand that, from my experience, regardless the business, it's unlikely you're going to get through it alone. I'll say, like my dad used to say it: if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough.
Yep.
So you need to be comfortable with that, or at least know that it's coming. And coaching, mentoring, preparation, reps, regardless of the industry, are all relevant to any and all of us. They might look different, but the more professionals I'm speaking with, like you and others, it's the only variable is the product. But
right.
the how-tos are it's fascinating to me when you talk to people that are at the top of their game. The similarities on the how-tos, the approach, and all this stuff is obvious.
Yeah.
And my hope is to help people understand that there's not 400,000 different ways to achieve success. The product is the product, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for it. And the reps, the coaching, the prep, all this stuff is very similar. And I think the more comfortable you get to get mentors or coaching, the faster you can get there, probably.
Huge.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Cool. Last question. So go back to who you were in 2000. What advice would you give yourself that I don't like to say what you would do different, more so like what advice that you'd like to give yourself that you may not had at the time?
Well, I would say this. I mean, one, here, from a business perspective, from a professional standpoint, save more money and invest more money. I mean, I think everybody in the world, if they say, I wish I would have saved more money, invested it earlier, right?
Start early, right?
In 2020, I wish I'd have bought a house in Arizona.
Yeah. Yes.
Two, right? On campus at ASU.
Yeah.
So those things. I think being patient is also part of it. I think so many times we try to rush to things and want things to come fast. Yeah. And they take time.
Yeah. There's no 5-star meal coming out of a microwave.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. So I think those things are important. Enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
I will say that's something I've done very well. I have had a blast in my life, and I have met and call some great people friends and close friends. And we've had some unbelievable experiences together, and, take the trip, do the event, you know what I mean? Like those things matter, and they are important, and not everybody's here forever.
Yeah. Now there's a clock.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't know when the time's up. And so, I think those things are all really, really important.
Yeah. You and I said that Father Time is undefeated.
Correct.
Right, wrong, or different. It's just reality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, brother, I appreciate you. You know how much I love you. Thanks for helping me out with this.
Oh, absolutely, man. Love you too. This is awesome.
This is one of our best, if not the best, when it goes out.
Awesome.
You have to send it to your friends, so we get you know a lot of people, so we get people to subscribe.
But you got it.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Thank you.